Good morning, guys, and happy game day to you. Huge divisional round game up against Buffalo. Bridget, how we feeling this morning?
Well, I think Tyler and I have a little omen of who's going to win. We both have these little kitten munchkins, and you know that means it might not be Saturday, but it is Catterday. And I think we've. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Let's roll.
I like it. Now, if I can figure this out, obviously we are a little bit shorthanded today without Whitney. She may show up, she may not. We have no clue at this point, but let's get this
We
show
definitely
rolling.
have some of the greatest fans, and it doesn't go unrecognized.
But first I tell her run it out of town, through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turn to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex,
Can you guys hear me now?
There it is.
Yes!
Hey, there we go.
We did it!
My mom, by the way.
Oh, hi, Mom.
And I lost my mind. I'm like, yeah, baby, let's go, let's go.
I like this. I like it. There we go.
There we go. Oh man, things got weird already.
Y'all gon' make me take that trip way out to Europe. I call up Nigeria,
I
come
don't want
through
to
in
keep
a
up with
hurry.
everything, but
Those
everybody
London
knows
boys don't
me.
come to play, you should get worried.
No, the team.
Smooth, find yourself, they getting buried. Dance with the devil, used to love playing those games. Made some bad decisions that brought my mama pain. I made a promise to her, swore that I would change. I'm on the come up, bet I live up to my name.
All right, good morning once again. Like I said, Whitney had a huge vacation. She may show up this morning, she may not. We're not exactly sure. She
She's
said
a
she'd be
little
exhausted if
sleepy,
she
I
did.
think.
And sleep in, Whitney. We don't blame you one bit. Let's get a couple shout outs here. Stranger, Matthew, Kayla, Lisa, Haas, Megan. Thank you all for joining us here this morning. Like I said, huge day for the Bengals. A chance to go back to the AFC Championship game today. Obviously, a huge test up against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. So, man, we got the first night of games out of the way. Got a chance to see. I think all of us were praying that Jaguars would pull off the upset yesterday in Kansas City. But let's start with that this morning, Bridget. What do you see in that game?
A whole lot of things I didn't enjoy. The first was some questionable officiating. I thought it was really interesting that the Jags got called for roughing the passer on Henny, and then basically the Chiefs do the same thing to Trevor Lawrence with the next drive. That's fine. But then, you have to, if you're Trevor Lawrence and oh my God, remind me who fumbled in the fourth quarter? It
Uh,
wasn't Ingram.
oh shoot, what is his name?
It starts
It
with
was
an
it was
S,
their
right?
it was their kick returner that had such an amazing game. What is his name?
If someone remembers, put it in the chat.
Yes,
But
yes,
like
please.
those are just two critical turnovers that changed the tone of the game. I thought it was really competitive the whole way through.
Mhm.
Mahomes' ankle injury obviously is somewhat interesting, as well as the little temper tantrum he threw when they were trying to just take care of him and get him checked out. So we head back to Arrowhead hopefully next week. Not our favorite venue. Certainly would have loved to host the Jags in Cincy. But Tyler, what do you see? What are you thinking? I think the Bengals can get back to Arrowhead next week. So what are you looking out for?
Most definitely. And just to kind of echo what you said, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes' ankle, that's going to be a key thing to watch on the injury report this week. Uh, Definitely looked nasty. What happened, seeing the replays because they showed it over and over and over again, which just kind of ridiculous. But Um, he's definitely going to be feeling some pain this week. So the question is, if we can get back to the AFC Championship game, how much mobility is he going to have? Because it definitely seemed to hamper him yesterday. You kind of see Mahomes come back down to earth a little bit. So yeah, that'll be definitely something interesting to watch for. I mean, regardless of what we do today. I mean, Bills and Bengals are definitely going to be on notice uh, of that injury and obviously containing Patrick Mahomes, making sure he can't get outside the pocket and make those crazy throws. If you take that out of his game, that's a huge factor right there. So,
What
but
I
yeah,
thought was interesting is everybody in the media just loves their boy Patty Mac. Patty Ma, whatever we call him. It's not Mac Holmes. I don't know. It's still early. Need a little more of this. But I'll call him Patty Mac. They love him so much, and it's kind of gross. I'm like, come on. Like, there's
yeah,
other men on the field. Can we stop? But Chad Henne, I think his name's Chad Henne,
yeah.
former Wolverine. What did he drive the ball down? 98 yards? I mean, I
hmm
think that shows the completeness of the Chiefs offense. And so I would hope they play Mahomes a little bit more if we end up in Arrowhead, because I had a lot of confidence in that offensive unit when Henne was out there. I mean, their O
hmm
line is superb, and I just Travis Kelsey's a beast.
Yeah.
So going to number 2 in the QB depth chart does not give me a whole lot of relief.
And that was something interesting. I thought the Jaguars defense just for whatever reason they lost track of Kelsey on that. It just seemed like they couldn't track him for whatever reason. So uh, again, if I don't want to jinx it, if we are lucky enough to get back to Arrowhead for a chance at AFC Championship, hopefully we have Trey Flowers back to track Kelsey because he seems to at least do a fairly decent job at doing it. But yeah, just for whatever reason, the Jaguars cannot track him, and he ended up with 14 or 15 catches yesterday, which is absolutely ridiculous to allow the best tight end in the league to, just run wild on your defense like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's always the one that I feel like we have to watch for, and I feel like Lou Anarumo's defense has been able to really attune themselves to that. Sure, in the AFC Championship, Kelsey got a cup, at least one. Got this one, which I wanted to run out on the field and smack them in the faces for. But I feel like Lou Anarumo's defense knows that Kelsey's the key to moving down the field and has really effectively stopped him thus far.
hmm So I guess before we get too far into potentials of returning to Arrowhead, we should probably talk about this week's game and getting over, not such an easy hurdle in the Buffalo Bills. So how are you feeling about today? And let's just start from there. How are you feeling today?
Well, I think we gave the Eagles and Giants game about as much airtime as it deserves. Is that was just like want want. Probably I don't know. I assumed the Eagles were moving through pretty easily, and that they did. Uh, I feel good today. I feel much less worried than I did last week. Not that that's a guaranteed win, but the Ravens just made me nervous. I don't know. They're
hmm
just so icky, and we knew they were playing like everything was on the line for them. It was all on the line for us too, but felt very on the line in a different way. So I think we're gonna have a cleaner game this week, but we have two really well matched teams on the field. I'm hoping we can pick up right where we left off offensively from that Monday night game.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. And my initial reaction, and I think a lot of people's reaction walking out of the stadium on Sunday night was, we felt like maybe we escaped there a little bit. But, despite the Ravens being on a backup quarterback, Huntley played a pretty damn good game. I'll tip my hat to that. He played a pretty good game. I don't really know. Lamar Jackson's obviously going to make a little bit of a difference for them. Do they win that game with Lamar? Maybe, maybe not. But I think what people are forgetting in that game is Baltimore's defense is still pretty stout. I mean, there's one of the best defenses in the league, and we still able to, put 24 points on them of 17. I mean, our defense gave us 7, but we still able to pretty much beat the Ravens straight up with our offense alone. And I know people are saying, oh, well, Buffalo dropped 34 on the Dolphins last week, but they also had 16 drives. The Bengals, we had a total of it was 7 or 8 drives total in that game. We only had 4 drives in that second half alone. So there's a completely different style between the two games. Our points per drive were actually, I think we was like zero point 0.1 points per drive behind the Bills in Wild Card Weekend, if I remember the math on that right. So I think there's a little bit of I think Bengals Nation is kind of looking at what the Bills offense was able to do, but not really like looking into the stats on how they was actually able to do it. I mean, Dolphins defense was outside of Davion Howard. There's not much going on with that Dolphins defense, but they was able to get 6 or 7 sacks against the Bills last week. So hopefully Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, DJ Reader, Josh Tupou, Cam Sample, Joseph Asai. Hopefully we're hearing their names a lot today, and they're getting back there and getting in Josh Allen's head today.
So, Ty, everything we've heard this week, or at least everything I've heard, is about the questions with our O-line. We have to talk about it. Because I think there's people on, like, different camps, right? Like, 3 starters out, and then there's but we played with a weaker O-line last year, and we're able to move further. So, Ty, what's your take on this? And I'm going to be really curious to see in the comments what other folks are thinking, too.
All right, so I'm going to start by saying this. We gave up 9 sacks last year at Tennessee on the road against a number 1 seed, against a team that everybody was saying we had no shot against. And we still came out on top. Even with 3 substitutes on this offensive line, I still think this line is better than what we had last year in the playoffs. And I went back, I watched the tape on my untrained eye. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm all-knowing football knowledge or anything like that. But from what I saw after rewatching the broadcast last week, Hakeem Adeniji, he held his ground. Max Sharping, he got pushed around a little bit in the first half, but in the second half, he really came back. He came in, he settled down, and he gave Burrow time. And then Jackson Carman stepping in short notice at left tackle. Outside of 2, maybe 3 plays, I thought he actually played pretty well, held his ground. And I know people are kind of a little bit down on Jackson just, based on how he played last season. I think he was at right guard last season, if I'm not mistaken. But moving back to left tackle, which is the position he's played in college and high school, having that familiarity might be able to boost him up a little bit, and maybe he's a little bit more comfortable in those spots. So I know people are kind of dogging our offensive line right now, but we just need them to be adequate. We don't need 5 all-pros to go out there for us to win a game. Just be adequate. And I think the guys will rally around this. I think Ted Karras he'll obviously step up in our offensive line group and, coach these guys up a little bit, as well as Frank Pollock. But I feel pretty good about our offensive line situation. I mean, obviously it could be better. It could be much better. But, based on what we've been able to do in the past and kind of seeing guys settle in, get comfortable in their spots, I feel surprisingly comfortable. How about you?
I mean, so the patron saint of Cincinnati, Joseph Lee Burrow, is performing more miracles with his feet than he did last year, and I think that's what makes me feel less worried. Burrow took, like you said, lots of sacks last year, 9 in the divisional game. I think Burrow is just a better quarterback this year. He was great last year. I'm not saying that, but he is even better this year. I know Derek said he's getting the ball out it maybe quickest in the league, but Joe Burrow is just playing more aware and smarter football. And would it be ideal to have the number ones in? Sure. Great O line would allow him a little extra protection. With the receiver core and with Hayden Hurst, I don't think. I think today will be ugly. Like, I don't think either team is going to have a blowout win. I think it's going to be ugly, but I think we stay competitive the whole way through. And the Buffalo defense is good, but it's not great. So I say let us cook. I don't know. I think it'll be. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm not expecting a blowout either side. I think we're gonna. Obviously, I'm going to be a Bengals fan here, and people are going to say, "Oh, you're being biased." But honestly, I thought coming into this week that this was going to be the best game of the weekend. Maybe Niners Cowboys would have been the second one, but yeah, I think we touched on this earlier in the show. Is both of these teams they're pretty much in the same position, like across the board. I mean, there's really not much difference between these. I don't know what position group would be strongly better than the other. I mean, quarterback play, they're pretty much equal. Wide receivers, maybe the Bengals have an edge. Running backs, I like us with a little bit at the edge, or with a little bit of an edge. O-line.
Really?
Running backs?
You think we've got a better chance, or you like our running back situation more than Singletary?
I do.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
See, that's what worries me. The ground game worries me because I think Singletary has been really exceptional this season, and I feel like, I mean, I'm a P. Ryan fan, and I won't hide it. I think if Mixon can find his rhythm, and I think maybe how big this game is, but Mixon's just not. He's not been playing where I'd like him to be playing, and part of that is probably the O-line, but I just feel like he's not breaking quite as many tackles or finding those holes. There's some, big runs, but Singletary looks really good this year, and so I think that's going to be, so if you were to ask me what's the key to us stopping the Bills on offense, it's stopping the ground game. It's stopping Singletary and stopping Allen. Allen is essentially another running back they have out on the field.
Yeah, I guess I should say this. I mean, I think Mixon has suffered a little bit with these offensive line adjustments a little bit. I don't think the passing game has been affected as much just because Burrow can make those adjustments. I think he's getting the ball out in like 2.2 or 2.3 seconds, which is the second fastest behind Tom Brady right now. But I think his completion percentage in those situations is the highest in the league. So obviously at quarterback, you can make those adjustments around, a struggling offensive line, whereas the run game, it suffers a little bit with its substitution. So talent-wise, I like Mixon better than I do Singletary. I think Singletary will probably have a better game than Mixon today just because of the O-line situation. But as a running back group, with Mixon and P. Ryan, I like that better than Singletary. And I can't think of the guy's name, although he is getting a little bit hot. So I might adjust that thought process on him. He's starting to break out a little bit against the Dolphins this week, and I can't think of his name right now. It's going to bug me. But overall, I mean, down the sheet here, I think both teams are very similar in talent and just competitive balance. So
yeah, I think the key is just going to be watching Allen and watching the ground. I mean, Diggs is awesome. There's no doubt about that. But I just think it's a very stoppable team. We held them to 3 in the one drive we got to see. And there's a little bit of a benefit, I think, to not having played a whole game against them. They got to see a couple things we were doing, but they didn't get to see 4 quarters worth of football. And I think I guess that's a benefit on both sides. We didn't get to see second half adjustments from them, which usually their defense tightens up a little bit more. I'm just really excited. I think this is going to be such a great game.
This has been a terrible week at work, and I probably shouldn't have a job right now because I've been unproductive all the week. So
Yeah, I don't know how we're
James
supposed
Cook is the backup running back.
we need to be able to get some kind of like formal authority to excuse ourselves with pay from our jobs during the Bengals postseason. Like when I get home, work is busy for me, and so I'm not on Twitter like checking anything during the day. When I get home from work, I'm like, sorry, Ben, I can't talk to you for 2 hours. I have to like scroll through Twitter, see what everyone said, see what the Bengals clips are from any of the morning sports shows. So it's bad. I need a January leave of absence.
Stranger said they didn't get to experience Ludini's second half changes.
Did you see? I saw. Was it Eli Manning said something this week that was like, I don't know what y'all think happens at halftime, but he's like, we go in, we use the bathroom, we eat a couple orange slices, and the coach is like, okay, get back out there. And I was like, is that true? Is he being trite? What is this? But in my head, I kind of want that to be true. Like all of us as fans are like, oh yeah, Lou's in there, like saying stuff, like doing this wizardry, when really he's like, okay guys, like urinals are that way.
Yeah, I don't know, because there is something that happens at least in the Bengals locker room at halftime, because there's times that defense comes out and it's like, okay, we've settled down and we figured out like what they're doing and how to. I think that's an extreme exaggeration on Peyton's part. By Ollie. So I don't know. There's got to be some level of adjustments. It's not just, oh hey, let's continue what we're doing.
Here's your fruit.
Head back out there. Right. Oh shoot.
So, Ty, who do you think is going to be? And you can do it on both sides. But who do you think is going to be like MVP for Bengals of this game?
Oh, MVP. That's a good question. I could go with that for different reasons.
I'll let you do on offense and defense, so you don't have to pick just the one.
I think let's start on defense at least. I think it's going to come down to. I think Cam Taylor-Britt is going to be the MVP of this game. Now, I wanted to say DJ Reader because I think the run game is going to be key in this matchup, because I think there's like a 30 or 40% chance of snow in this one. So stopping the run could be huge in this. But we can't let Stephon Diggs run wild over us. So I think I don't know who's going to get that assignment. But I imagine Cam Taylor-Britt's going to have a huge role in this game, and he's been close on an interception all season long. I keep waiting for it. My prediction, probably about week 10, was that he was going to come up with his first pick against the Bills on Monday night. Fortunately, we didn't get to see the entirety of that game. So hopefully that prediction carries over into today, and we get to see that pick. I mean, Josh Allen is. He's serving up interceptions left and right, so hopefully that trend continues today as well. So yeah, I'm going with CTD on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side, man, this could be tough because we saw Jamar Chase, first play of that Monday night game, get behind the secondary. Looked like it could have been a easy 70-yard touchdown pass if it wasn't for the holding. We saw Tyler Boyd get that touchdown the first drive. I think the MVP in this one I think it's going to come down to offensive line play, and I'm going to go with Jackson Carmen on this one because
I
I think
love it.
that's really where it's going to be. If Carmen can give Burrow time to throw, we're going to be all right. If he comes out and struggles and he turns into a turnstile and a penalty machine, we might be in some trouble. So that's going to be uh, my focal point for this game.
Can I tell you a little aside about CTB, just so folks can know his character? So, a friend of mine, her niece, her 10-year-old niece, lives in LA and has been in the hospital for seizures. And Isabel, that's the niece. She's a big Bengals fan, and out in LA, and there's not a lot of those. But my friend texted me last weekend and said, "Hey, when you're out at the game, could you get some videos for Isabel? Just people sending her a hooday, wishing her well." And I ran into Cam Taylor Britt's mom, Courtney, who is just like the most lovely person you could ever want to meet. I mean, they seem so happy to be part of the Houday Nation, and I know we're so happy to have them. So I said, "Hey, Courtney, would you do one of these videos?" She was like, "You know what? I'll have Cam do it." And I was like, "Well, like, he's really busy. There's this game tonight." And she's like, "Nope, I'm his mama. Like, he's gonna do this video." And I kid you not, she made sure she got the right information. And at 12:30 in the morning, after that wild card win, Cam Taylor Britt sent Isabel a video. And if
That's
that
so
is
cool.
just like not the most heartwarming, and it's the sweetest, I made sure I got a copy of it, and it is just the sweetest. So CTB has like a huge giant heart as well as a ton of talent. So I will take CTB on defense, and I would love to see that interception. But you know what I want to see even more? Mike
But
Hilton, who's all of what, 5'9", 5'10",
yeah,
is
somewhere in there.
playing like he is 7'6". He is just like getting sacks, cutting people off at the knees. I want to see a Mike Hilton sack on the big man Josh Allen. That is like what I'm hoping for. I don't do much in the way of sports betting if that's an option. I would love to bet on a Hilton sack because he plays like he's giant. Yeah, Pam. Cam is not ugly. That is a chiseled face. And Pam knows that her wit and I got a really lovely picture with CTB on his birthday in New Orleans. And he was also delightful then. But, yep. We have a very handsome team. I would love to like do a comparison with the other 31, but so I wanna see Mike Hilton just keep playing like he's a gazillion feet tall, and I'm gonna go Hurst on offense because
Okay.
I think the Bills, and we'll see what Brian Callahan is cooking up. The Bills can sometimes get a little cooked by really good tight end play, and so I think a healthy Hayden Hurst is going to be a real weapon on this team.
I like it. I like it. And going back to the Taylor Britt family, and this just seems to be a theme with the Bengals and their players. But is there another team in the NFL that the fans and the families have such a great relationship with? Because
I don't know.
it seems like our fan base is so intertwined with these families. T. Higgins' mom is constantly on Twitter. Uh, the Taylor Britt family was just on Bengals and Brews the other night. Like it's just constant like interaction between, and we could go on and on about lists here, but um, it just seems like the players and family are so intertwined, and I can't imagine there's another team like that in the league right now, and I love it so much. And yeah,
I think that speaks to the integrity of our fan base. I mean, you always got the outliers, but for the most
Mhm.
part, we support our guys. Some days you have better games than others, and I don't feel like the core of the fan base turns on our players. Like, do I
Mhm.
think Mixon is having like the season I want him to have? No, but I love him, and I think he is part of the heart and soul of our team. And we would never, like, I don't feel like we sit there and bash our guys, and their families feel that. Like, they know when they're part of this community, they are like part of the family. And I just think that speaks so much to who we are as a fan base.
Absolutely. I saw a couple hashtag juice gangs in there. Obviously, who's all part of that?
I got my Cam Juice crew neck sweatshirt delivered yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I was going to wear it. It had, like when you order something that's been printed, it can sometimes have a little bit of a funky smell. So I had to wash it. If it's dry, I'll wear it today. If not, hopefully I get to wear it in this victory week. Fingers crossed.
Alrighty. So let's see. Yeah, so as far as so we kind of touched on what we're watching for today. Let's jump into some score predictions too. And if you're in the chat, throw them out there. And uh let's get everybody involved in this. So what are you looking for today, score wise?
What am I looking for? Bengals 90, Bills 3. What am I expecting? The weather's confusing me because I would say Bengals 28, Bills 27 if it was just going to be cold and not snowy. If we're going to have precipitation, if the field's going to be a little slippery, if it's going to be a little harder to get hands on the football, maybe I'll say Bengals 22, Bills 21. Like, I think it's going to be, 3 points or less is going to be the spread. Is that the right term? I don't know the terms. But I think we win, but I think it's by no more than 3 points.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Early in the week, I was feeling like it was going to be a little bit of a shootout. But I think, like you said, the weather is going to slow this thing down a little bit. And I think both teams don't want to get into a shootout for some reason. That's just kind of been my gut feeling this week. So I think we'll try to see the game get slowed down a little bit. I think, oh man, I'm going to go Bengals. I'm going to go Bengals 24. I'm going to go Bills. I'm going to go Bills 20. 24-20 Bengals.
I like it. And my biggest thing that I'm looking for, not in score, but just in this game, is keeping the remaining starters healthy. Because we are going to need all of those folks going into a very contrary and hostile Arrowhead next week. So I'm hoping for, a lot of smart play. I don't want to say conservative play, but I want to see as many starters move forward next week as we can get and not be plagued by any injuries.
Let's run through some of these scores real quick that we got coming through the chat. Lisa went 24-17 Bengals. Derek said, I think I said last night 34-30 Bengals, but I forgot due to so many bourbons. Matt went with 27-21 Bengals. Kayla went with 34-31 Bengals. Pam was asking, are they expecting snow? I think I just checked this morning, and it looks like it's about a 30-40% chance of snow throughout the entire game. So it's Buffalo. I went there in 2016. We went through every season in pregame. It was snowing at one point. The field was covered white. Then it started raining. Then the sun came out, and then we had overcast. So Buffalo, never know what you're going to get up there. Meg said, if Bengals win, I want them to destroy the Chiefs next week. I think everybody in the NFL wants just somebody to destroy the Chiefs. I am so tired of hearing about it.
So it's funny, though, Ty, because I was like, 5 straight AFC championship games. And were they all in Arrowhead, too, no less? I know they've been there 5 straight years in the championship.
Well, yeah. So this will be 5. Uh,
I don't know if they've all been at Arrowhead, but regardless, I was
I
like,
think I
ugh,
know 4 of them have at
that's
least
too
been at
many.
Arrowhead.
It's too many. I
I'm
don't
so
like
tired of
it.
it.
However, I will check myself because I was like, oh, this is so boring and everyone loves them. And but Arrowhead, one of the best stadiums. Not true. I mean, the stadium's fine. Getting out of it is a nightmare. Um, but then I was like, you know what? If the Bengals make it to 5 straight AFC championships, I certainly won't be like, oh, how boring, someone new. So I had to check my hypocritical nature last night.
I mean, I obviously as a fan of that fan base, I wouldn't. You'd absolutely love it. I'd expect the Chiefs fans to absolutely love it. But as an NFL fan, it gets boring. I felt the same way about the Patriots when they was winning the Super
Yup.
Bowl every year. I think everybody in the NFL felt that way. Like people want parity unless you're part of that fan base. Then you just
I
want it
want the
every single year.
Bengals to just dominate for the next 10 years. 10 years in a row of AFC championships. That's all I want. It's a
That's
simple
not too much to
thing.
ask for, is it?
No, no.
We got a couple more predictions in here. Darth Bengal went with 35-28. Meg went with 28-21. So yeah, I like the confidence this week.
I'm hoping Shooter is feeling good in this game. Like Ty, what's your take on Evan McPherson this season?
So
Because it feels a little different than last year.
yeah, so at first I was kind of blaming, the timing with obviously we lost Clark Harris early on, so then we changed over to Cal Midas, and I was like, okay, it's just timing and stuff like that. When I saw this week after watching the Cowboys kicker miss four extra points last week was that the NFL is enforcing a rule on extra points that may have more of an impact on this than what people have realized. Uh, so what the rule is that holders are not allowed to place any foreign object or any sort of spot object that signals to the kicker, this is where I'm putting the ball down.
Mm.
So you can go back and watch video of last week's Cowboys game, and you can see a ref go over at one point. And I don't know if it was a blade of grass or if it was like a quarter or some sort of white circle where the holder placed down where he was going to put the ball, and the ref went over and took that away like right before the kick. So I don't know if that is affecting kickers more this year, and people just haven't adjusted yet, or if there's something else going on. I'm going to go with that for the time being because from what I've discovered this week is the NFL is enforcing that more this year than what they have in years prior. So I think that might have a little bit of an effect, and people are still kind of adjusting to it.
You heard it here first. The NFL choosing to enforce rules differently at midpoints in the season. Fascinating.
I mean, why would we stick with a certain rule set for an entire season?
Nah, that's boring. Why have rules? Let's just change them all. Live in chaos.
So with that being said, maybe the AFC Championship game won't be an Arrowhead next week. Maybe we'll do a coin flip tonight after the Bengals Bills game for who gets home field advantage.
I think that is a great idea, and I think you should just coin flip in perpetuity now. But let's get the Chiefs into Cincinnati for an AFC championship. Like, that's all I want. That's all I want.
So Katie Blackburn, if you are watching, hey, we changed rules, a couple weeks ago. Why not change it one more time?
I'm sure we can figure something out. That's what I want to see in the comments after the show is what is the ground or the leg we can stand on to pitch a rule change midweek to get the Chiefs in Cincinnati. Be creative. Let us know. We'll send it all to the front office.
We're not bitter about that, are we?
Won't be petty about it for long at all. I will be on my deathbed being like, coin flip if I live or die. Like, it's now a part of my makeup, and I will be salty about it until the end.
Stranger said, I'm changing the rules. Bengals only may now intercept a ball on up to the third bounce. Maybe we should make that a new segment on this show. What is your crazy last second rule change that you want to add to this?
I think we need to. We deserve to be able to have that level of pettiness. Like, this fan base deserves an outlet for it.
Oh shoot. It's like playing fantasy football with my dad. He always comes up with a new rule for new points, or what this shouldn't count or that shouldn't count. It's like a weekly thing. And one season I was going to keep a notebook of it, and he had like 20 rules. And I was like, this is beautiful. We need to add this next year. But yeah.
Ooh. I like this. I think there should be something here about what we can do with the zebras.
Speaking of the refs, like, how stupid is this that players cannot criticize the refs?
I think it's just the most NFL rule. Like, the NFL and their relationship with the officiating crews is so bananas to me. And like, first of all, I'm surprised they don't do this, that they don't allow it, especially in like the days of social media, because I feel like you could get so many more media hits, which I know is not a good reason to do it, but the NFL does things for PR and popularity, and so you just think, I mean, hot takes on the refs would be going viral constantly. But like, we couldn't have the Roger Goodell clown signs up in the stadium for the Week 18 game. Like, if that's not like the biggest bunch of tender flowers you've ever seen, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's super soft. I mean, whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, to a degree, I think you should have like some level of, you can question referees. Like, if they're out there blasting them and swearing up and down the tree here, and making radical comments, like, yeah, okay, fine them. Like, that's fine. I don't care. But if it's like a legit criticism, why not? I mean, I don't know. It just seems super soft that you can't question the refs.
And I feel like they should make do they get performance reviews? And if so, those should be public.
I believe they do get performance reviews, but I don't know if it's public. I know they do them because that's kind of how they select referees for the playoffs and Super Bowl and all this.
Well, we need a little public accountability on that data. So
Transparency would be great.
Release them to us.
Now we're starting to sound like Chiefs fans here.
Well, okay, we'll stop. We'll cut that right there.
We don't have notebooks on ref stats, so I mean, we're not to that level yet.
No.
Dear God.
I don't have the energy for that.
Oh, shoot. So I guess we got one other game. We can touch on that a little bit. We got Cowboys-Niners. How are you feeling about that one?
So, I want a Bengals-Niners Super Bowl. That's what I'd prefer. I do not want to play the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, not because I think they can beat us, just because I don't like them. And then I think the Eagles the Eagles would be a team that would make me nervous. I mean, I think the Niners are exquisite, especially on defense. And Brock Purdy is like, hey, I'm coming out of nowhere and I'm awesome. So I'm going to go Niners tonight. There's a part of me that feels like the pendulum could swing from that, like, immense Cowboys victory. What I have said, playoff football is hard. 14 teams that make it to the playoffs, is that right?
Yeah.
You usually have 14 really good teams. The Cowboys played a team last week that had no business being in the playoffs. Just
I was
literally no business.
I was so surprised how many people were like so high on the Buccaneers last week. I was like, this is the easiest bet of the weekend. It's like
Well,
I'm
I think you and I
okay.
said the one thing that could have made it a little funny would potentially be officiating if people,
Mhm.
wanted a Tom Brady love story. But like the Bucks were just bad in
Oh
every
god.
aspect. So I feel like what we saw from the Cowboys last week is not indicative of
Mhm.
what we'll see this week. I mean, it is a substantially better team in the Niners than we saw with the Bucks. So I'm gonna go Niners, and I think the Niners could win by double digits.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. So yeah, I'm going to pretty much echo what you said right there. Cowboys, got a pretty favorable matchup last week against the Bucks. The NFC South is was super soft this year, and yeah, Cowboys got a nice tune-up game for this week. But I really like the Niners defense. They play phenomenal football. Brock Purdy, he has enough weapons between Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. He doesn't have to go out there and do anything too spectacular. I mean, he's getting the ball in a superstar's hands, and they're doing work from there. So, pretty easy game for Brock Purdy, and I think that's why people are so high on him right now. I imagine the Cowboys are going to get more pressure on Purdy than what he's faced here in the last couple of weeks. So that's
Yeah, I
going to be
mean
the big.
Parsons good.
He is very good. So, my big question is, how is he going to handle that pressure? Um, but I still feel pretty confident in the Niners. I think it's destiny for the Bengals Niners to get to the Super Bowl, and we finally get that monkey off our back because I mean we've defeated every other demon at this point, so why not get that one
That's how
accomplished as
I
well?
feel. That's how I feel.
Um,
And in the desert just feels gritty. I like it. I like everything about it.
and if that's not a sign right there, Ollie came back just in time for that segment. So,
I want to hear, is Ali a boy or a girl? Boy, right?
boy, yeah,
I want to hear him be a little vocal there. Like,
can you be
yeah,
vocal?
get it. He's like, no, you gave me my kitty's Xanax. I'm fine.
Yeah, he actually had it this morning, so he's a little bit more calm. Um, although not a big Lamar fan, so we can always have that moment from last week.
I'll take it. I'll
But
take it.
yeah,
I'll take it. All right. So the game is
all right.
nigh. What are we at? 5 hours away? Four and a
That's
half?
4.5 right now. I have been ready for this game all week. Confidence has been getting higher and higher, as we approach game time here. Um, yeah,
Where are
let's
you
just get
watching the
this
game,
job done.
Ty?
I'm here in Dayton today, so
You
I
watching
think
it at
we're
home?
yeah. We thought about going up to my parents' house to watch it with them, but I think with the snow going on, I think it's a good day to just wrap up in the heated blanket and hopefully, hopefully see a victory today. What about you?
That well, my mid-30s self wants to do that, but Jackpot Joey crew, RJ Cinema next to the Jungle Gyms over on the east side. It has been super fun every time we've been able to do that this season. I think I watched the Steelers game there and the Jets game there. So we are 2-0 when I watch a game at RJ Cinema and wear my Year of the Tiger shoes. So you will find me at RJ's in my Tiger shoes, and hopefully that just means we're headed to Missouri next week.
I thought about I was considering coming down for that, and I was like, I haven't done it all season. I can't change it up now. We got to stick with
Okay.
something we've at least done this season.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. We can't, it's not a day to change things up. It is a day of
We're not superstitious
superstitions.
here. Oh shoot! All right, so you you have anything more for us here this morning?
No, I think like the team is going to need all the good vibes we can send them. I've loved seeing how many folks were able to make it to Buffalo. So Houday Nation, stay safe in Buffalo. Don't fall into any tables. We need everyone coming back with all their limbs and bones intact, and travel home safe if you're out there. But otherwise, just send the love, whether you're in Cincy, Buffalo, or anywhere else in the country or across the globe. Send the energy, and I think we can pull this one out.
Hell yeah! And I want to throw one more comment out there. Hey, we faced a lot of adversity last week against the Ravens. At times, it looked like maybe we're losing grip on this game a little bit. But hey, man, that second quarter was rough. We lose Jonah Williams. Eli Apple was laying on the field at one point, and it was like, all right, did we lose another corner? But this team, in the face of adversity, may not always be pretty, but we find a way to fight back and get the job done. So whatever happens, positive vibes throughout this game. Let's just bring home a dub. This team is built to withstand adversity, and we faced it time and time again throughout the season. I think we got a special team here in Cincinnati. I think we can get this job done today, and let's keep this thing rolling.
Houday!
So with that being said, guys, enjoy the game today. Hopefully we bring home a win. We're doing another show next weekend, bringing on those Chiefs, but let's get this job done today in Buffalo. Houday!
Houday!